Hey, this is Reb Beach, and you're listening to the Paulie Z Show.
Yo, 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 welcome back to the Paulie Z Show. This is episode number 32, and today we got a guitar player extraordinaire. You guys might know him as a guitar player from Winger. Some people might know him currently more so as the guitar player for Whitesnake. And he was also played with Dokken and Alice Cooper and a bunch of other bands. He's a great guy, and we just played with his band at the M3 Fest, which was a couple weeks ago. So this is nice. We get to talk a little bit about that. So who am I talking about? Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, talking about Reb Beach.
I'm here.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Paulie Z Show, my friend.
Thank you, Paulie. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're more than welcome. So let's. I was just talking about a couple of podcasts ago. I was talking about our trip to Maryland for M3 Fest, where we actually did play with you guys. And I don't know if we had a chance to really chat. I hung out with Rod a little bit and Kip, but that was
who was on that bill?
That was it was Scorpions.
Scorpions?
That was Kicks.
Scorpion Cinderella.
Right, Scorpion Cinderella Kicks was on it. Vince Neil was on it. That was the one where Klaus lost his voice. Were you there for that?
I remember now.
Yeah.
That was a good gig. I love that, the venue and everything. I couldn't believe that they got it together. I mean, there were so many bands and, it was just like equipment everywhere and people pulling up in their vans and, where do I put this thing? And there was like no room for anything. But they got it together and everyone sounded good. Kicks, oh boy, they love their Kicks in Baltimore.
Yeah. Let me tell you something though. How good is that band? Jesus.
Scary. Really, really, really cool. It's amazing that his voice still sounds that good. I mean, the guy's got to be over 50. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I almost put a band together with him, actually. We were talking about putting a band together for a while.
He's a good guy, too, Steve. I like Steve a lot, and he's got the showmanship. Yeah, right?
He's still got it. There's people that just got it. I'm not saying I got it, but I've been on stage since I was 10. I was just like a little kid, and I had a stage mother who kept pushing me up on the stage, and she would, say that he can't beat Pippin. That boy, that boy's not a good singer. My son is the one who should play Oliver in Oliver. And I was cast as the tree,
right?
But then she'd get me the better parts, and I'd be up there, think about the sun, Pippin, and so that's how I got my start, was just on the stage. And there's people that have just been on stage their whole lives, and they're just very comfortable up there, and he's one of them.
Well, it's funny. I'm more comfortable on stage than I am off stage. A lot of the people that know me, my friends and stuff, say like on stage I have this sort of rock god thing going because I'm very comfortable, but off stage I become this like goofball. You know what I mean? It's like it's a totally different thing. I lose whatever it is that when I'm up there. So do you ever feel that
performing.
way?
It's all kind of a facade. It's the same thing with actors. There's these great actors that are nothing like the people that they portray, and that always freaks me out. And then there's actors that are exactly like the people that they portray, like Jeff Goldblum.
Right.
Like I have a friend who's friends with him, and he's like a genius, and he really is like his characters that he plays.
Right. Well, and there's rock stars that are like that too. Like you meet them off stage and they live it. Like I heard Tony Iommi. He was. Was it? I think I had Glenn Hughes on the podcast, and he was telling me that when you go to Tony Iommi's house, you'll never see him in anything other than black. You'll never see him in shorts or a bathing suit. He even has like black pajamas.
No, he definitely lived it. I've met him a few times, and he's a rock star. There's no question about it. And there's guys that. Like Ryan Roxy in Alice Cooper's band. When I was in Alice Cooper for 4 years, And the other guy, the other guitar player in the band was Ryan Roxy, and he was just a star. You know, he was just he always looked like a rock star. And if you see me anywhere on the street here in Oakmont, PA, the home of the U.S. Open, where I live, I'm wearing a golf hat, and I go down to the bar, and me and Charlie and Bob, the ice cream guy, Charlie runs the crane downtown. You know, these are my friends, and we're just, they don't know that I'm, traveling around the world. I mean, they know, but they don't.
It's right. It's a different world.
Rock star or anything.
Different world, right? It's you become. Yeah. You're and I totally understand that too, because are you aware of the TV show Z-Rock? That's our show that we do.
No.
You know that? Okay, so there's a television show called Z-Rock, and that's kind of like what really put us into the limelight. More so than we were before. And it showcased our real life as, trying to be rock stars and an up-and-coming rock band, but also by day doing kids' music. And that was, it's kind of the same thing, because you would see us, this dichotomy. Before that show, we can control our image, and no one really knew anything other than what we put out there. So if we've got pictures and we're all in our fancy, like, trash and vaudeville clothes and looking cool and whatever, then it's like, oh, that's how they are. But then when you see us in the daytime, like today, I just taught a couple classes, so I'm like in shorts and a t-shirt.
You're in an elephant suit,
right?
You're dressed as a kangaroo.
Well, not that bad, thank God. But it is a totally different. It's not what I'm wearing on stage, and it's not the same attitude. You know what I mean? I'm not good. So it is interesting the way you have the two worlds, and I think more and more now and nowadays, that people like that, because it's not back in before the internet and things like that. You didn't really have access to people's real lives. But look at reality television now. It's like people love that. They want to know what does Ozzy eat for breakfast? That's why that show was so successful.
I know. I'm thinking about doing a reality video, because I did an instructional video, my last instructional video. A buddy of mine is into film and all that, and he had a camera, and he said, come on, I'll just film you. And he said, I just want to film you being you in your studio. And so that's what he did. There's not a lot of instructional stuff on my instructional video. It's mostly just me telling jokes and, driving around with me. And
that's the
so it
instruction.
turns out that people like that. I've sold just a billion of them, and people like it better than me talking about guitars and amps, and and they're all guitar people, but I think that's really more my calling. I don't consider myself the guitar hero guy. It's like I do this one thing that I can do. I can tap really well, and that's it.
Well, hold on a second. I don't know about that. I'm a fan, my friend. Let's not go there. I mean, first of all, I
can improvise. I'm pretty good at improvising.
Well, I saw you
and at rock. I've been doing it a long time and all that, but I don't consider myself up there with the guys, George Lynch and Van Halen and Paul Gilbert and Joe Satriani and Steve Vai and all those guys. I'm nothing like them.
Well, I think there are people.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
I think there are people out there that might disagree. And you know what? Well, I never saw you guys. And M3 was the first time I saw Winger live, and I was very excited because my first time. And the thing is, I'll be honest with you. I knew the hits from the 80s, like Headed for Heartbreak and 17 and stuff like that. But I only knew maybe 2 or 3 songs, and I didn't know what happened to you guys since then. I was like, oh, okay, I guess they're doing their thing, and I didn't follow so much until I had Rod.
Well, who does? I mean, honestly, who goes around and goes like, I love Winger. Winger. I'm sorry, it's like the worst name in rock.
Well,
and it sucks because of what I think you're about to say is that you liked it live, because I've never heard anyone say that they didn't like it live. That's the whole thing. When people see Winger live, they're like, that's Winger?
Right. It's a different animal.
So
but
you liked
also,
it, right?
Well, I loved it, but here's the thing. What I was going to say more so was that I kind of got more into it because, well, first of all, is someone recommended it. One of my fans on the podcast, I always ask them to send in, we do a thing where we talk about new records that came out, whatever. And someone said, you got to check out the new Winger record, Karma. And I was like, and that same thing. I'm like, Winger? They're still doing the thing?
Winger?
And I just didn't because I hadn't followed. People that follow obviously knew that you were doing that. So I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And had no idea that you guys had that other sound, like that more heavier sound, and I loved it. And that's why I had Rod on. And it was like, because I'm a fan of King's X. You know what I mean?
Me too. Did you ever hear the Mob?
I heard of it. Isn't that like it's like a mixture of people, right? It's like you. It's like Doug.
It's me and Doug Pinnick.
But isn't the guy from Night Ranger in it too?
Yeah, he's the drummer.
Right.
And he sang one song.
Is it?
He was great. It's a cool sound, but the whole deal with that was I'm a big King's X fan too, and my idea was to write some really like straight ahead rock songs, poppy, straight ahead, dun 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 dun, everyone sing along kind of song, for Doug Pinnick, so that I could hear his voice over something that wasn't, so musician oriented,
Yeah.
Although there's lots of like really cool jams and all that in it. The Mob did really well, and they want another Mob record now. The record company has been contacting me, and they want me to do it again. So anyway, it was great to work with him. He's so cool because I got to produce his vocal. So he's in the studio, and he's singing, and I'm like, Doug, do one of those Doug Pinnick screams where you go like, and he did it. Just like there it was. It was like it reminded me of the time that I played with the Bee Gees. I did a session with the Bee Gees when I was a kid in Florida, and I walked into the studio, and there was marijuana everywhere, like bags of the most beautiful marijuana you've ever seen. Like, oh my God, like incredible, and it was everywhere. And the producer, Arif Mardin, who was part owner of Atlantic Records, was like, yes, they smoke that all the time. They're always smoking. But there was no vocal on the track, so they all got around me. The Bee Gees stood around me and sang a cappella. It was like,
really?
It was like, yeah, it was beautiful. And they didn't need anyone to give them a key or a note to start on or anything. They just launched right into it. I mean, it was just like that moment when I worked with Doug Pinnick and he did that incredible scream.
How was he working with? I mean, like personality-wise, was he tough or was he pretty easygoing?
Oh God, he's a kitten.
Oh yeah,
he's beautiful. Oh, he's gorgeous. He's like a wonderful human being. He's like an alien. He's just got oozing talent and creativity. And he took my nonsense lyrics and made them into real lyrics. It's like working with a real cat.
It drives me crazy. Well, I'm telling you,
he's been around the block.
It drives me crazy when with a band like that doesn't really, that band should be playing the Garden to me. Like, you know what I mean? It kills me. And when I saw you guys and I heard Karma, and I actually, just so you know, I did go back and I got all your other CDs. So I have the full catalog now. So just so you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of Winger.
Yeah, of Winger. Yeah, because I went back and although I had to get them imported because it was very hard to find, but I got them all.
Of course.
And I loved it because I that sound was like something I, as a music fan, I was really into it. It was like heavy, and it's kind of like what my band ZO2 tries to do, which, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's like kind of like a modern treatment to still like an old school feel.
Well, we don't strive to do that. We don't have that in mind. Really, it's kind of it's the marriage of me and Kip Winger is what it is. He's a classically trained musician who specializes in arranging. I mean, he arranges for 76-piece orchestras, for ballets, and so immediately when I play him a guitar lick, which I'm good at, like I can come up with, just sit me down with a beer and a guitar, and I can come up with 3 licks that are cool.
Okay.
But I don't know what to do with them. And I still, to this day, I'm the worst. I have 5,000 licks recorded, and none of them are finished. So because none of them are a finished song.
I'll take some off your hand if you need. I'll So he puts them together.
He puts them together, and we wrote all of Karma in 10 days. whereas Pull took us 9 months to write. And the reason is because we didn't have Pro Tools back then. We had a big tape machine,
right.
big reel-to-reel, and that's pretty much it. We have Pro Tools and all, and he's been studying arranging since then. I mean, that was 93, so you're talking about 15 years ago.
But when I mean like the heavy, like the modern sound, like that heavy detune, I mean, it doesn't sound like your typical glammy, 80s metal band. I mean, it's got a heavier. Most of the stuff is detuned. So, like, where does that come from?
Are you talking about? What are you talking? Are you talking about Karma?
Yeah, Karma.
Karma is, I think, down to D.
Yeah,
it's down.
Yeah,
we're tuned to D.
Right, but that's what I mean. So where is that coming from?
We did that for vocals. I mean, that's the only reason we did that, so that Kip can sing that stuff live. Every night. We're like 50 years old. It's like singing, that kind of shit. Stuff every night. Better edit shit out.
No, it's this podcast. You can say fuck, shit, cunt, motherfucker, whatever you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even the C word.
Dude, I
would never say the C word. Girls don't like the C word.
Oh, that's okay. They like anything you say is okay if you're a lead singer of a band. See, I can say whatever I want.
Yeah, I'm not the lead singer.
Oh, okay. So you can't say it. I can say cunt.
I can say the P word when describing the female genitalia.
Oh, okay. So what, tonsils? What's the T word?
Yeah, tonsils is not a P word.
Oh, P. Oh, I thought you said T.
Yeah, T.
Oh,
no, not T.
Okay.
No, yeah, T. I don't think there is a word for the female genitalia that begins with T, as in Tom.
Well, titties. What about titties?
Although, how about what?
Titties.
Well, titty is not the female genitalia. I mean, isn't genitalia like your lower extremities?
Yeah, I guess so. Technically, I see.
Yeah.
I'm a boob guy, so I include that in genitalia. So all those years when I bragged about I grabbed her genitals, that was really. If I grab someone's boobs, I can't say I grabbed their genitals.
When you're a boob guy.
Oh my God!
I'm like, Paulie, give me a name for the female genitalia. You're like,
titties. Yeah, but I titty fuck, so I mean that doesn't count. Oh man.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean I see it. What you're using them as genitalia.
Oh, I see. But technically, all right. Well, listen, I didn't know we were going all Grey's Anatomy now. Okay. All right, whatever, yo.
Yeah, you got it. I'm sorry. I digress.
Where the hell were we now?
Well, I don't know.
Well, I was in the middle of just telling you how I kind of got reintroduced to your stuff. And so, so I love the stuff. I got it. I like, I reviewed Karma, and I gave a great review because I really, really think people should listen to it. I love it. It's exactly what I like. And
that's really great to hear. It sure is nice to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And now here's the thing. I saw you, and that's what I was I was like, okay, here's the thing. Are they going to be able to do this live? Like pull it off? Some bands, the record's great, and then the live show is not so hot. And you guys were great. And what I really liked was that you had, I don't remember which song you did it on, but you had a jam towards the end. Like it was a real long jam. And Rod was doing, everybody took turns. And
yeah, Saints and Sinners, it's called. It's from In the Heart of the Young.
Yeah. Oh man, it was great, and it was just.
That's kind of our free bird. We've been doing that for since '93, whatever, '91.
Now, do you find, out of curiosity, when you play stuff like that, let's call it more musical, more muso, and not so sing alongy, right? Do you find that stuff goes over better, like in a. Not an arena, like something that's maybe a 2,000 seat, a theater, as opposed to like when you played M3, like I was pretty close, so I was going crazy. But I wonder someone in the back sitting and listening to that, if they can feel it the same way. Does that make sense? Do you ever think about that, or have you found any difference between them?
It's all I think about, and there is a difference between them. And what you have to do is make an arrangement so that when you do those jams, it's interesting. So in that song in particular, we do stops where, like, the band will stop, boom, and then me and Johnny will play a lick, just me and him, for, like, 15 seconds of just me and him going, and all it is guitars.
Right.
Basically, Paulie, you have to figure that everyone in the audience is stoned. So you have to do stuff to freak them out, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, like, you know, you need to just do tight stops. Everyone needs to be completely tight if you're going to do these kinds of jams, you know, and write in some cool stuff, some licks, where everyone's jamming together. And make it interesting, you know, because there's other bands that I've been in where they do have these long jams, and they are boring. They're really boring.
Like, especially when they get into, like, the drum solo sections and things like that. But I find sometimes when you play, like, a smaller place, you feel it more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, rock and roll wasn't, I don't think, originally, you know, designed for these giant places. You know, when it became big business, I think in the 70s, it became more arena rock. You know what I mean? But when you really,
I don't know. I like going to the arena and seeing a concert. You know,
but
I mean, it's not like it used to be in the old days, but I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
It's more intimate and
like the general
sure,
standing
the band
room
feeds off of the audience. You know?
That's what I'm saying.
When
like,
the band is that close to the audience, you know, you can totally feel it, and it totally changes your show when there's people right there in your face, and you can. You know,
like
drink
standing room only. You know what I mean? General admission, like 1,000 people, no chairs, no aisles, no. You know, it's like it's just a different vibe. And I was just wondering how what your thoughts were on that.
On what? What's the question?
No, well, you answered already, so I'm not going to re-ask the question.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, it's done. I'm just ending that segment saying, you know, I was wondering what your thoughts were. See?
Well, if I thought it was better, like which do I like better?
No, just I don't even know what
usually the question. Which do you like better?
No, I don't think.
I
don't think so. I'm not sure why someone would care. Who cares what's better? Because I've played. We've done both. I mean, we toured with Kiss. Our first big tour was with Kiss and Poison, and we started out going literally, dude. We played maybe 10 shows together as a band and put our record out, and now we're on tour with Kiss. So we were playing big arenas, and it was like, holy shit. This is what what I want to do with my life. And then we've played places, small places, let's say opening for Bret Michaels with his solo band or doing Alice Cooper or whatever. And it's like maybe 2,000 people or something, and it's all general standing.
That's funny because that you say that because I know I'm interrupting you and you have more to say, but I just wanted you to know that when you said that, when I saw Kiss was one of my first concerts, and I said, holy shit, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Just so you know.
Oh, when you saw Kiss?
When I saw Kiss for the first time.
Oh, well, I knew that. I knew this is what I wanted to do because of Kiss, too. I mean, and my first concert was Kiss also. But have you actually ever played with Kiss?
Yeah.
Hello?
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm getting my house power washed right now.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought we lost him to the alien. The Pinnock alien army came and abducted Reb. Did you?
That wasn't actually Reb Beach. His name is Veldar.
We came looking for Reb Beach. We looked at Brighton, Manhattan, Muscle Beach, Daytona. We couldn't find him. So have you ever played with Kiss?
Many times.
Oh, and what did you think? How awesome was that?
I was bummed that I only played with, I never got to play with the old school band. You know, it was with,
okay.
No, I'm not saying anything bad about Bruce Kulick or the drummer who died who was in it. He was so nice. He was just the best guy ever.
But I know what you mean. It wasn't you didn't
Carr.
get a chance to play. Yeah, you didn't get a chance with the original.
They weren't in the makeup. It was the whatever tour, the Hot in the Shade or something.
Okay.
And it was a long tour. It was like 4 months.
Nice.
Hot in the Shade. Yeah, and it was us. No, it was Kiss, Winger, Slaughter.
Kiss, Winger, Slaughter. I wonder if I remember that
for a long
tour.
time. It was a long tour.
Well, it's funny. You just mentioned you didn't want to say anything bad about them or whatever, and we were talking about before we did the interview. We had talked a little bit about saying stuff in the press that can be misconstrued, and I saw you caught yourself. You're like, It wasn't the original line. And
I realize that if I'm going like, oh, it wasn't the original band.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
I'm dissing Bruce Kulick, and actually I'm not, because there's been like 5 guitar players in Kiss or whatever.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. So I'm not.
Yeah. Well, then,
Bruce Kulick.
Just so you know,
guy.
on my website, the headline for this podcast is going to be Reb Beach, bold letters, going to be like, "This is Kiss."
Reb Beach of Bruce Kulick. Man, that guy sucks.
Yeah, I didn't get to play with the real
like
Kiss.
Ace Frehley, man. That totally sucks.
You know what? But it's funny because we were talking a little bit about it, and you told me a great story, which, if you don't mind sharing again, so people can hear. I thought that was a great story where you were asked about Jimi Hendrix, right? So
yeah, that was for Guitar World. I was on the cover, actually, of Guitar World. It was me and Paul Gilbert and Richie Kotzen, and we're all sitting in a room, and they're interviewing us, and the interviewer said, "So, Reb, if you could bring Jimi Hendrix back in a seance, and you had one thing to say to him, what would it be?" And I said, "Tune your guitar." And everyone started laughing, and I started laughing, and it was funny. Because Jimi Hendrix was out of tune a lot in a lot of his performances and live performances and recordings and all that. But, and then I went on to say, of course, no, I would say, you're the reason I play guitar, basically. You're the reason I know a blues scale. But they didn't print that. They just printed in big black letters with italics, Reb Beach of Jimi Hendrix. Tune your guitar, buddy.
Oh, my God.
Which is not good. It was bad. I got hate mail. I got bags and bags of hate mail. Like, "Dear Reb Belch." It was bad. It was not good.
Isn't it suck, though? Because it's like you can't, and I think I started telling, well, actually, no, I didn't tell you the story, but it kind of happened to me when Z-Rock Season 1 came out. We did a lot of press for it, right? And we were used to doing radio interviews and things like that, but this was the first time that we were really doing like a bunch of like a press run, like one after the other, after the other, after the other. And you get to the point where it's like you feel like you don't want to keep saying the same thing because you're repeating yourself. But, but you obviously, for them, they're hearing it for the first time, but we had to learn it the hard way. So I was always trying, like you, I was always trying to make a joke and make the interviewer relax and have that kind of rapport. And I remember one time they were saying, well, why'd you go into kids music to make a living or something like that? And I said, well, it paid the bills and whatever. I said, look, if I could be a ballerina, I would do that too, And then it was like, ha, 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 ha. And then in the interview, it doesn't say
Paulie
laughing.
Z wants to be a ballerina.
But they made me seem like I would just do whatever was, whatever, as long as I got paid. It didn't matter. It's like, yeah, if it paid, I'd be a ballerina too. And it was like, oh my God, that's not what I meant. And I learned the hard way. And it sucks because you kind of have to don't you feel like you repeat yourself,
there's something, I know what you're saying. I don't understand. That's one thing I still don't understand. What's wrong with doing anything to get paid? I guess it's bad to want money. I mean, I don't understand that.
I don't know if it's wanting money. I think what people find, and I had this conversation when Dee Snider was on the podcast too, and it goes back to a little bit what we were talking about before, like separating the stage from the off stage. I think a lot of people want their rock star, especially in rock music or even rap or actors, whatever. They want you to be that person all the time. So if you're a rock guy, especially, you were tied to a specific era, you know what I mean? You're going to be always linked to that. And if you did anything that was quote unquote, that's not metal or that's not cool, it's not so much the money. Right, but the money makes it worse. But it's not even just the money. It's the idea that it's like a sellout. You got to do this and only this. Otherwise, it's not pure. And that's what people want. They want that. And Dee was saying too, he was like, I'm not a lifestylist. It's like, I get off the stage, I go home, I do other things. Plain and simple. You like it? Good. If you don't like it, go fuck yourself. And it's but it's true.
Well, that sounds like Dee. Is that what Dee said?
Yeah, well, I'm paraphrasing. I might have added some stuff.
I love Dee. I did an album with him.
Which one?
I did a Twisted Sister record. I did a lot of the guitars, most of the guitars.
Is that common knowledge? Are you allowed to say that, or is that a secret?
Yeah, I'm on the album. It says me. It's Love Is for Suckers. I did a bunch of stuff on there, and I wrote on it with D. We wrote together for a couple of months.
He's a good guy.
I took his ideas and I threw in some solo sections. He had the verses and the choruses and the meat and potatoes of all the songs, and I threw in some solo sections and stuff. And I have to tell you, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life because of Dee Snider making me laugh. I laughed and laughed and laughed, and I mean laughed, hurting, like painful laughing, because this guy was so funny. Oh my God, I got such a kick out of him, and working with him was great. And it's a really good album, except for the drum sounds are so horrid that you can't get past it.
Oh, do you want me to edit that out?
Oh no, I mean it was it was a long time ago. It was like 1988 or 86. I mean, it was before Winger. It's probably 86.
Yes.
And the drums are all a drum machine. So, and it was when when Beau Hill produced it, and you needed like huge like snares, like
right.
It just sounds like a tin can.
It's funny because
the songs are great though. It's called Love Is for Suckers.
Yeah, I know that record. I don't know it offhand, like the track listing, but I think I probably have it in my collection.
It's a good record. I've talked to those guys about it and everything. I see them all the time. Whitesnake. We do shows together.
I wanted to talk about that real quick. How was playing with Whitesnake too? I mean, it must be a different vibe from Winger, right?
Well, I'm currently a band member. I'm in the band, right. And I have been for, this is my
7 years,
8th year, I think.
I was close. I said 7.
It might be my 7th year. Okay, my 7th year. 7 years. That's a long time. And I can't believe that I'm still in the band. They like me. They really like me.
Oh, but you're so funny. You're
great.
so entertaining and so nice. How can they not like you?
Well, no, it's really great. That I'm still jamming in Whitesnake, and it's a great honor, when you're on stage with somebody that is such an icon.
Right.
I mean, David Coverdale, when you're playing Still of the Night in front of 10,000 people, and David just goes up and hits that note, it's way up there. It's riveting, and every time. It's not like, it gets boring. It's
right.
like, oh my gosh,
right.
that was...
Well, one thing that's cool about Whitesnake...
That's what I'm doing it for. That's what it's all about, is that feeling of, your legs are spread as wide as they can go. You're down, like you're sitting on a saddle, and you're leaned up against the bass player, and he comes out and goes, wow! It's just like, oh yeah, this is what I live
screaming.
for.
Oh yeah, people don't know. I feel bad for anyone who has never really experienced it. It's just an amazing feeling. And what I loved about Whitesnake too is that Whitesnake was always had a lot more blues to them than a lot of the other 80s metal bands. Obviously because they also came out from the late 70s, but if you listen to him, you know that guy Coverdale was listening to Paul Rodgers. I mean, you can hear. Oh,
that's funny. That's interesting you say that. A lot of people compare him to Robert Plant, which I don't think he likes.
No, and that's the thing. But I think that's the automatic go-to comparison, because I see it. He's got that kind of look, and he had the high, I'm a mama, baby, whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he's more Paul. I bet you. Because maybe as a singer, I'm hearing that more so than the average person who's just looking at it and hearing the high notes. But I know, and tell me maybe I'm wrong, but I bet you Paul Rodgers is one of his favorite singers.
I'm sure. David's a music aficionado. He has one of the biggest iPod you can have, like the 100 gigabyte or something. It's just ridiculous. 120, I don't know. It's just huge, and it's just filled with music, and he knows a lot about music. You could name pretty much any band, and he'll tell you about that band and
right.
what their roots are. So he loves music, and he listens to music all the time, and so I'm sure that he's a big Paul Rodgers fan.
And that's what I liked about him, because he brought a lot of that blues into that kind of music. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
He listens to the blues. He listens to the blues, and he knows all the old blues players. I mean, he's got John Mayall and all that stuff playing in his dressing room all the time.
Yeah.
But it's great to work with him, because he has this presence and this voice, and it's like working for a pirate captain of the ship.
A pirate?
It's like you're a pirate, and you're on the ship, and he's the captain of the ship. He's like, Rebellious, I want horses' eyes on me at all times this evening.
He's got the low and the British, something about the British accent, man.
It's like he speaks like the Queen.
Yeah.
Like, here's the scenario.
Yeah, like he's King Arthur. He's like he's in a Robin Hood.
King Arthur's court. Well, Rebellious, you shouldn't be looking at that pornography. It's like, okay, David.
I gotta tell you, the album, I was just listening to it a few days ago too, because I was showing it to my drummer who hasn't heard it, but the new Whitesnake album is really, really good too. I mean, you got two.
It's cool.
Yeah, I love it. Heavy.
I didn't have much to do with that. That's Doug and David. I was doing other stuff.
Oh well, then you know what? Then it's not so good. Nah.
It ain't so great.
Nah, not as good as I thought.
Hey, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah,
no.
I thought you were on it, but if you're not on
album. It's a really good album. They did a great job. Apparently, Doug's telling me they're working on a new one now that's supposed to be fantastic. So that's very exciting.
So you just do the live?
They did a great job on the last one. There's some really cool songs. I mean, we played 6 songs from that album live. We learned the whole album and played about 6 songs last year, and everyone really liked it, and it got great reviews and did really well. So, good for Whitesnake.
Well, now let me transfer over to the second part of my podcast, my show, because I want to make sure we have enough time to talk about it before you got to run. The show is rock and roll, but it's also food. That's sort of like the personality, the niche of this thing. It's rock and roll and food, and I always talk about,
We can talk about chicken wings.
Okay, well then that's what we're going to talk about, chicken wing. I want to know, talk to me about, first of all, are you a foodie or do you just like eat because you have to eat?
I'm a food aficionado.
Oh, yes! Then why hold on a second. I wish I would have known that because we could have just totally talked about this. We didn't need to talk about pirates and we didn't need to talk about lifestyles and we could have went right into chicken wings. All right, talk to me, baby. Go ahead.
Well,
what do you love?
I'm a lover of food. I know a lot about food because I traveled the world. I don't know. Last year I went to South America, Japan, Australia, all through Europe, Russia, you name it, China, and so all I do is eat foods from different countries. When asked what my favorite food is, I would have to say chicken wings are in the top 5. I love chicken wings more than anything, and the best chicken wings that I've ever had in my life are in Buffalo.
Now, when you say chicken wings, are you implying buffalo wings necessarily, or just chicken wings in general?
I like chicken wings in general. I can do all kinds of chicken wings.
Okay,
so but chicken wings are the greatest. I make them. I make buffalo wings at my house, and I make them. I had a recipe that I printed in David Coverdale's book that his wife wrote a book, a cookbook of rock. I don't know what it's called. Rock recipes from rock guys.
Okay.
And I put my my wonderful buffalo wing recipe in there, which is really easy. It's just hot sauce, butter, and the key ingredient, a few, like maybe a teaspoon, not a lot, of apple cider vinegar.
And then what? And then just fry it up, and that's it?
Well, you fry up the wings, and then you pour the hot sauce, butter, and apple cider vinegar on top of the wings.
Okay.
And that's how they make them in Buffalo. And that's, sometimes you go to a restaurant where they have that's done the right way. Chicken wings shouldn't be wet. And you shouldn't pick up a chicken wing and your fingers are completely wet with red sauce.
I hate
that. That's not the way it should be. You pour the sauce on them, then you stick them in the broiler. So they're nice and dry and crunchy, but they still have the sauce flavor on them. That's the way to go.
We just played with Dream Theater in Buffalo, I think it was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And they
called me this Wednesday, this is Thursday. They called me yesterday. Yes, all of them called, all 5 of them at once. Hey, Reb Beach, how you doing?
For what?
No. I'm friends with the guitar tech.
Oh, okay.
And he called me to come down to the show. They're here in Pittsburgh, where I live. Yesterday they were, and they called me to come down. So with Iron Maiden, was it?
No, it was one of their own shows in between Maiden shows. So it was them headlining and us on. It was just us and them, and Mike and Portnoy knows that we eat. We love to eat. It's on our TV show that we pick out, and it's all our fans know. It's common knowledge that we're big foodies, and we have a big appetite.
Are you in New York?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn. The whole band is, and
okay.
Well, I was gonna say real quick is that so he wants to. He's always like, hey, when we hang out, we're gonna do a challenge. We're gonna do this. He likes what everyone likes to see us pig out because we're very passionate when we eat. So he ordered like 150 wings or something, and after the show, and we polished them all. It was like nothing. It's like boom, gone. Yeah, it was insane. We just kept going, boom, 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 and the roadies would come in, and Mike was like, "No, I can't go yet. I gotta watch this." They were like, "Mike, the bus is leaving." He goes, "No, hold it 10 more minutes."
10 more minutes. Well, Mike's he's kind of the leader of that band.
Yeah, he runs the show. But why were you asking about if I'm out of New York? Do you come to you're where? You said.
Well, I used to live in New York. That's where I did that Twisted Sister record, and I was a session player in New York City for a while. That's kind of, I was like playing in a top 40 band in Florida, which was really fun. But then it was going nowhere. I was playing Jump on the keyboards every night. So I moved to New York. I got a job as a singing waiter in the Bowery right next to CBGB's. Here's your food. It was me and a bunch of, homosexual guys. And
Lucky Chang's?
Anyway,
was that Lucky Chang's by any chance?
What?
Was it Lucky Chang's? Was that the place?
No, it was a lobster joint right across the street from CBGB's. It was owned by the mafia.
Okay.
It was, I don't know. I worked there to make money, and I would jam at Guitar Center and Rudy's Music Stop, and I would just like go in there and play. And I heard about an audition for Fiona in Long Island, and I went out, and it was Joe Franco and Donnie Kisselback from Rick Derringer's band, and I got the gig, and it was Bo Hill producing, and that's how I got my foot in the door.
Really?
Yeah, and Bo used me on sessions that he did for Shaka Khan, and then he turned me on to Arif Mardin, who I did Howard Jones and, the Bee Gees and, Roger Daltrey and Kenny Loggins, and I played on all this stuff.
And is that how you met Winger then, through that connection?
I was the go-to guy for rock guitar at Atlantic Records Studios.
Okay.
And then that's how I met Kip Winger, who was the go-to bass player
right.
For rock stuff, and so Bo Hill put us together, and we hated each other, completely hated each other, because we're absolutely opposites. It's like Lennon and McCartney. I hated him. I still hate him. He's my best friend.
like my brother. Try working with your brother, okay? That's tough.
I guess so. I mean, he's my best friend, and I hate his guts.
But it worked.
But anyway, so back to food. So New York, man, the pizza in New York City is so fabulous. You guys don't know how good you have it.
Oh, I know. When I go to California, I know. When I go anywhere.
Yeah, and the reason I'm told that the pizza is so good in New York City is because of the water.
Right.
And the person who told me this was a New York guy who moved to Florida and started his own pizza place. And I used to live in Florida. I bought a house there when Winger went big, and subsequently moved out 8 months later when Winger went bad. But this pizza, I was like, Mister, this pizza is completely New York pizza. How did you do this? He said, you know what I did? I analyzed the water in New York City, and I got the exact properties of the water from a water specialist, and I had him make me the water in New York City with all the acidity and the chlorine and everything was put into the water that makes the dough for this pizza. And he could have been completely full of shit.
I don't know. I've heard that too. And then I don't know, because I know there's a guy named Joe you remember Joe's Pizza in New York? I don't know how familiar you are with New York, but Joe's Pizza.
Wait a minute. What, how? Joe's Pizza? Where's that?
Joe's Pizza was on. It moved now, but it was famous. It was on the corner of Bleecker and Carmine, and it's where Spider-Man the movie.
Yeah.
Peter Parker was working at that pizza place. So.
Okay. Well, yeah. I do know that pizza place.
Yeah, it was right on the corner. Very, very famous, like well-known, like one of the better New York pizzas.
I didn't know it was famous and well-known. I used to live on 14th Street, so I was there all the time.
Joe's.
I know that place.
It's like like a staple. It's like it's not like Grimaldi's, which is more of like a restaurant, but it's more of like when you want just like straight ahead New York pizza, but that thin crust. This is the place. And I know Joe, the owner, and he's opened up in California. And he told me, I said I heard that theory too, and he said it's bullshit. So I don't know.
It could be bullshit. The guy could have been totally bullshitting me, but I swear to God it was New York pizza, and nowhere else had pizza like this in Florida.
Yeah, and I have to say, I do think it has something to do with the water, because I think either A, he's lying to me and he is shipping the water over there, which is what I heard he does, or B, he's not, and the pizza there is just, because I don't know if it was as good as New York anyway. Oh. So maybe not.
Well,
but anyway.
I think all of the bread in New York tastes different. I mean, I get a roast beef sandwich in New York, and for me, a roast beef sandwich in New York City is probably, that's also in my top 5 favorite foods, because on an onion roll, oh my Lord, and it's the bread there. The onion roll tastes different. The roast beef tastes different. If you get Boar's Head roast beef in Pittsburgh and get Boar's Head roast beef in New York and compare them, there's no comparison.
Really?
Like, it's so much better in New York than it is in Pittsburgh. I mean, everything's bad in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is the worst food town. It's a great town. It's where I live. But
not a food place.
They do not know food. They put coleslaw on their sandwiches here. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. It's like a mess. And steak, steak is a whole nother deal, man.
Well, you got to come. Listen, we got to take you. One of the things that we're doing on our show, and we're working up towards it because it's a fairly new podcast, but we're getting. We're going to take our guests out to dinner and then doing a second follow-up interview and film it. And, obviously our treat will take you out and hang out, whatever. And then literally review a place, go somewhere that you want to go. Like I was going to take a couple of guys.
I'm your man.
Oh, well then.
I'm your man. I know everything there is to know about food.
Oh, well then this is perfect.
Ask me anything.
Well, this is perfect.
Start me up on a subject about food. I love food. My wife says that I'm obsessed with food.
Oh,
luckily, I'm not that fat right now. I have been going to the gym, so I look okay. But I'm one of those guys that at the end of my meal, I make a last bite of everything. I time it down to.
Oh, you do that
too? At the end of the meal. There's one bite of everything left.
Yes.
A bite of the green beans, a bite of the twice baked potato, and a bite of the filet mignon in a red wine burgundy
Right,
sauce.
You can't finish one. Like when I see someone eat all their French fries before the burger, it drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. Yeah.
I will not eat with that person. I would stand up and leave and throw their fries on the ground.
Well, I don't know if I do that. But I think.
I'm kidding.
I don't know. You sound like you probably would.
I wouldn't. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'll tell you. Then this now I'm inspired to have a follow-up interview where we can talk more about this stuff because I'm telling you, I love the same thing. People say they love to watch me eat because it's like a drum solo when I'm eating. Like my arms are all over the place, and I'm like, and I love it. I love it so much that it's ridiculous. Like I wish I could have sex with it and marry it and have children with food. Like that would be amazing. One day, maybe we'll find a planet. Maybe there's a planet out there with a whole race of food, beings that maybe we can, procreate with. How awesome would that be? Like steak women.
Well, I never thought of it that way.
Steak women.
I don't know. That's very.
Reb, would you fuck a steak woman?
Would I what?
Would you fuck a steak woman from another planet? From Foodatron.
Is she made of steak?
Yes, she's a whole, like her body. She's a steak with a heart and eyes and limbs, and she's medium rare. Pink. Would you fuck it?
No, because I can't equate those two things. I can't put those things together. It's either one or the other.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, I want to thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me. I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
I did very much. I actually really enjoyed it. It was awesome.
Good. I'm glad. And we'll definitely do it again at another time, and maybe next time you have my info. So next time, if you're in New York, let me know. We will go and we will pig out, and I
will.
Yeah, it'll be great.
I was just there, so I probably won't be there for a while.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah, or if my band is playing Pittsburgh, I'll shoot you an email, and maybe we can go.
Please do, yeah.
Have some coleslaw sandwiches or something.
Right.
All right. Well, listen. Thank you so much again. And is there anything you want to plug, real quick?
What's that?
Anything you want to plug?
Anything I want to
plug?
Yeah,
website. You want to just tell people your website? Might as well.
No.
No. Okay. All right, I'll do that.
I already plugged the instructional video, which I wanted to plug. So.
All right. Well, there you go. Well, listen, people go out and definitely get Karma. If you didn't hear my review on another podcast, I gave a great review. I love it. I've heard it a bunch of times already. It's really, really good. So, congrats. I think you did a great job, and I hope we could get to play together again sometime soon. And this time, we'll be able to at least conversate more. We'll have more stuff to talk about. Okay?
Okay. All right. Great. Really enjoyed it.
Reb, thanks so much, man.
Anytime, Paulie. Talk to you soon, man.
All right. Say hi to the guys for me. All right.
Will do.
Later.
Okay. See ya.
All right. Well, there you go. So it's so funny how people get so much more. They become alive when we start talking about food. I have to get to the food quicker. It's like, I really love the rock and roll talk because I'm such a, a music fan. So I love hearing these stories and stuff like that. And especially like when he was saying how he met Kip and all that stuff. That's great. But the food is like, that's the holy grail right there. Some good shit. So, all right. Well, then we'll hopefully get him back on at some point and we'll talk some more. And, I'd love to play with them again because I think our band and their band just fits, especially more so the music now, like, because I think again the 80s hair metal stuff was great also, obviously, and they were big hits, but I love what they're doing now. It's just there's something about that sound, that King's X-y. That's the only way I could describe it. It's like King's X, like heavy, crunchy, but with a lot of melody. Melody. I can't talk. Melody. A lot of melody. Melody. Damn it! All right. Anyway, so that is the end of this show, and I hope you enjoyed it. Actually, do we have time for a Yo Paulie? Probably not. I think we might have to wait till next time. I'm sorry, guys. We'll wait till next time. I know it piles up, but bear with me. We'll get to it. I do read them, so I'll get to them. Anyway, Paulie Z Show, thepauliezshow.com. And my Twitter is twitter.com/ZO2Paulie. And obviously the website for our band is ZO2.com. And what else? ZO2.com. Oh, no. And the Facebook is facebook.com/ZO2Band. That is our current Facebook. The old Facebook one is not active anymore. Okay? So, and if you want to email me, you can email me at yopaulie@thepauliezshow.com. All right? And check us out on iTunes. It's free. So just get it and listen to it when you're driving and shit. It's keeps me up. I got to be honest with you. I don't know if this is pretty lame or not, but I listen to my own podcast when I'm driving. Oh, I guess it is. That's the rooster, and that symbolizes me waking up. But actually, it's funny because when we do drive, we make these long drives in the middle of the night, coming home from a show, and I throw on the podcast, and it really does help, just because there's something about the conversation of it, like just hearing people talk, even if it wasn't me, just there's something about that keeps me going more so than music. Sometimes music makes me more sleepy. So anyway, I guess that's it. Red, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.